Hi, this is Dave Keckner, and you are listening to the Dave and Creech Show. I don't know who's who.
Many of the terms, comments, and stories you're about to hear may not be suitable for some. Listener discretion advised.
I'll give you a good reason why my house is not complete. I have a professional wrestler and a gangster rapper building my house.
All right now, boys and girls, we want to introduce...
Mom says when I wear this badge, you're supposed to treat me like a man of the law.
Dave Sheridan.
I did poop my pants a little bit on purpose. I wanted to.
Oh, so. You did it.
CJ Creech.
I actually got on Facebook a friend request from a member of ISIS this past week, which was really
it's
freaking
your beard.
weird.
Have you seen your beard lately?
The Dave and Creech Show.
Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
Hey everybody out there, welcome back to the Dave and Creech Show. This is episode 64.
Record scratch. This isn't the Dave and Creech Show.
Well, okay, technically it is, but for the immediate future there is going to be a little bit of a change.
Yeah, I'm not Dave Sheridan. I'm probably not even known to anybody that's listening.
Hey, no, you have like 4 views on YouTube, so there's at least
I've made videos, little movies that you may have seen CJ share.
Actually, yeah. I literally haven't shared most of your stuff. I shared House of Crazies 3.
That's been the most recent.
But some of the other stuff that you've asked me to share, I can't because it's embarrassing.
It's fine.
The stuff this guy has made me do on camera is...
What you made me do for the original House of Crazies. Clean your car.
That wasn't even the original.
I don't even know what
that was the second one. But yes, for those unaware, this is not Dave Sheridan. This is Bryan. I was thinking we could go Creech and Daniels. It sounds like a nice drink name right there.
Creech and Daniels? Because of Daniels? Because of Jack Daniels?
Probably, but I could see somebody saying, hey, I want a shot of Creech and Daniels. So
that'll be a very fruity drink.
And if you're wondering why Dave won't be on this episode and probably the next couple of months, obviously, if you've been listening to the show since the beginning, you've noticed that Dave had some construction problems with his last house in Charlotte. Well, he sold that one, made quite a bit, made a pretty penny. But, as we've discussed, he moved back to LA, and on top of the acting right now, he's doing the building thing all over again. And that is taking up a lot of his time.
Very busy man.
Yes, he is very busy. So I asked Bryan here, who I've actually, if you go back far enough in the
annals of history,
in the annals of this podcast, I've started so many podcasts that it's not even funny. But one of them that I started back in 2015 that was so successful that it ran for like 3 episodes was
very successful.
Best Friends at the Movies. And that was a play on the title of the show that me and Bryan were making at that time, Best Friends. And our combined love of film, where we would talk all sorts of movies.
We couldn't really think of a topic except movies, that or wrestling, but we thought movies would probably be a lot more well-known, entertaining.
It was very short-lived, and it was annoying because whereas now we can go on forever, seemingly, back then our podcasts were only allowed to be 30 minutes for each one, so we would have to record multiple episodes for the same actual episode. There was multiple parts.
We would have to rush. We would just skip a lot of stuff just to get into that time frame.
Like, I believe the Valentine's Day episode, or maybe the Friday the 13th, one of those was like 4 parts.
Probably the Friday the 13th. Valentine's Day one? I don't even remember that one.
I don't either. Maybe I'm just
You're just thinking about holidays now.
Yeah.
Halloween, probably.
Probably.
So for, I don't know, however long he needs me, I'll be here. So get used to my voice.
Yeah, we're going to be kicking it weekly again, which has been something I've been saying for the better part of the last year. But we understand Dave is wanting to finish this house now, and he's back in LA working. So basically, what's going to happen is like Bryan was saying, he'll be on here. Occasionally, Dave may pop in to say something. We don't know. I talked to him today about it. He seemed up for the idea because he still wants to at least leave his imprint on the show in some way.
He can be a special guest on his own show that he's named out on.
Right? I put it to him as this, which this may be something that we do, is that, like Jerry Springer has his closing thoughts at the end of the episode.
Okay.
So I was thinking we'll bring Dave on, and he's not even going to sum up the episode like Springer does. He's just going to be basically just saying whatever's on his mind for like the 2 or 3 minutes before the end of the show.
And give you a nice quote.
Yeah, some words of wisdom. If he wants to complain about something that happened in the day, it could be anything. And he seemed up for it, so that's probably what we'll head towards doing.
And if Dave is listening, which I don't know,
he's not going to listen.
Okay, well, I understand, Dave. You need a break from CJ. This is a nice break. Dealing with him for more than 10 years now. I'm not sick of him yet, but I can understand if you are. So
no. I think he had a nice break last year. But, he doesn't listen to this. Dave says he lives the show, and that's good enough. Okay. So he never listens to it back.
Okay. Well, we can... Okay.
Yeah, who knows? He might start, though, since he's not going to be a main part of this. He's not living this right now.
Maybe he's thinking, am I going to get replaced?
Yes, am I going to get replaced on the Dave and Creech Show? I've got to find somebody else named Dave.
Yeah, that's true. I don't get that much stuff to talk about like he probably does.
Yeah, Dave talks a lot.
I don't have a list of movies on IMDb to talk about.
Yes, well, that's because your movies don't qualify for IMDb. But we're going to go back to our old format, which for some of you listeners, if you're still around with the long-term listeners, I guess you could say, we used to talk all sorts of entertainment news and weird news and all that. And that's coming back. We had to stop because we couldn't get Dave for long enough to talk about these issues. And
you couldn't
just... because we just had to get him on for the interviews. So, let's go ahead and talk news.
Kick it off?
Yes, we're going to kick this off. And I don't know exactly what Brian's going to bring up, and I know what I'm going to bring up, but just case in point, spoilers are probably contained in or around something we're talking about.
If you hear something about movies... We'll probably spoil it to a certain degree. Try not to go too in depth, but if you hear us start talking about movies, then you might want to skip ahead.
Yes, and see that's another great thing that I don't know if the listeners have noticed out here. Usually we have a podcast highlights little note at the bottom of each podcast where it tells you where each thing we talk about is. So if you see or start hearing us talk about something you don't want to be spoiled on, just go to the next segment.
Timestamp.
Boom.
Okay. Yeah, so just go by that. And if you want to hear spoilers, so be it.
I saw this news piece on what has to be one of the unluckiest people on the planet. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play this audio, and I'm going to talk about it. And we're just going to hear about the unluckiest guy who apparently just doesn't get the hint.
Doesn't catch a break.
No.
Colorado man is either very lucky. Than a year after Dylan McWilliams survived a bear attack in Boulder County, he has a new story of survival.
I'm just going to stop it right there for a minute. Now, as you're hearing, he just survived a bear attack a year ago. So obviously, this is something else that's happened to this guy. He's a year after being attacked by a bear.
He's already lucky to be alive.
Yeah, like, seriously. This guy's been mauled by a bear, and yet something even worse, apparently, has happened.
After being bitten by a shark in Hawaii.
There's blood behind me, and I didn't know where it was.
Dylan McWilliams from Grand Junction was paddling into the ocean in Kauai when he felt something bite down on his leg.
Now, obviously she said it was a shark, but... like, seriously? Something bit down on his leg.
It could be a number.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably hurt, assumedly.
Unless, he had teeth marks. There's 100 shit ton of fish in the sea. It could be anything. Unless he actually saw it himself. Who knows?
But as it continues, This is what Dylan had to say.
Knew it was a shark.
He knew it was a shark.
Oh, he knew it was a shark.
Then swam toward shore. Bystanders helped him out of the water, and he was taken to an urgent care with deep cuts on his leg.
The scariest part was swimming back because I was maybe 50 yards from shore.
He says it's not as bad as what happened to him less than a year ago.
I never thought I'd be attacked by a bear.
Last summer, Dylan was attacked by a black bear at Glacier View Ranch in Boulder County, where he was working.
So obviously he likes the nature because he works in it. But yeah, so okay. Well, let's recap this right now. He's been mauled in the span of a year by a black bear.
Which, if you've seen The Revenant,
they can get rapey.
They'll fuck you up.
Not content with just being fucked up by forest-dwelling animals, he decides to go get fucked up by the water animals. So he's obviously not safe on land or on sea, and somehow he's managed to, in a year, be attacked by both a bear and a shark.
A water bear.
A bear and a shark. And I don't even know, like,
you don't want to.
What would you do past that? I'm just saying, if I got attacked by a bear, I probably wouldn't leave the house to begin with. But if I were to get attacked by a bear and then go out to sea to swim and get attacked by a shark, like, what the fuck? Like, just stay at home.
Where am I the chance? Like, he has the highest amount of, like, luck or what's the word I'm looking for? Luck.
Yeah, no, this is horrible. Because it's like, no matter where he goes, he's getting attacked.
He'll probably be in his house, and
he'll probably get bit by, like, a brown recluse.
Yeah, and his skin's just going to fall off, and that's what's going to kill him. The smallest little thing is going to get him. I hope his luck keeps him alive. I should just tell him, what's his name, Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan, I know you're probably not going to listen. Maybe you're listening. Who knows? Stay inside.
Yeah, no, see, and here's the this guy.
Become Bubble
This
Boy.
guy wants to be, this guy just wants to die, apparently. Because when they asked him, well, how was he feeling, he stated that he was just mad that he can't get back in the water for a couple of days. And so as they're continuing to interview this, obviously, thrill pain seeker.
Yeah.
Because, obviously...
Isn't that they're
obviously bear, shark. He reveals a little something more to this story that they didn't talk about in the actual video package. And basically, 3 years ago, and that's 2 years before the bear and 3 years before the shark, he was bitten by a rattlesnake while hiking in Utah.
By a rattlesnake. And Utah, I don't know how their poisonous snakes are. That's just lucky. You're lucky in getting out without, like,
This guy has not only cheated death 3 times, he's been attacked by 3 different animals. I think it's safe to say the animals do not like him and that he should try to avoid animals at all costs.
At all costs. Maybe he has better luck with people.
Yeah, maybe. So what's next for you?
We've gone to a plethora of buffets before, right?
No, never. You could never look at my body and not say that it was designed by countless Chinese buffets.
Spoiler alert, that's a lie. We've been to many Chinese buffets. And we get the fortune, we read it, and we make the joke and whatnot. Have you ever got the numbers, your lucky numbers, and ever put them into the lottos?
I haven't. That's because I don't play the lottery.
Well, if you did, you might get as lucky as a quote-unquote Maryland woman said that she used her lucky numbers from a fortune cookie and won herself a $30,000 lottery jackpot.
Is that after taxes?
Probably. I'm thinking. So, again, that's luck. Never thought to use them. I just think that's sort of neat that she won it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's luck for her. I mean, that would never work for me. But if it did, what would you do if right now you went out and played it and you won $30,000? What's the first thing you're gonna do?
Go to a Chinese buffet. Go right on back.
You're gonna give them a tip?
I'm gonna give them not an expensive tip or anything. Come on, I'm not crazy.
You're not gonna leave them at least like $1,000.
Maybe $15, $20 if they're good for the service. Come on, I've got to spend on other stuff.
Like what? What's your first big purchase?
Besides
hookers.
Putting me on the spot. Can it be illegal? Or does it have to be illegal? Or can it be legal?
Nope. This is not going to incriminate you in any potential criminal activity.
All right. I would have... I have no idea. It's when you never really had that much money in your hand at once. You don't really know.
Well, you wouldn't have that much money in your hand at once.
I know.
It's not like you're going to go get the payday. You're going to drive up there and they're going to hand you $30,000 in cash. Obviously they're going to give you a check, and then from that point on, it's probably going to be deposited into your bank unless you're like, no, I would
like to go to like a very big arcade. Don't know why.
Very big. Why wouldn't you just buy your own arcade?
Because that's not fun. Because then you just own them. You can't. You're not winning it from another place. You're spending money somewhere else to win.
Exactly. You're spending your money to win nothing at some other place. But you can play the game and enjoy it whenever you want.
That would be the funnest thing. I don't know. I could buy a boat, buy some food.
It's always a good
I'm
one.
always the type of person that probably wouldn't splurge. Because I'd be like, well, shit, I need to save this up.
I would buy new podcasting equipment. And then I'd probably buy some sort of landline. So,
get rid of your cell phone.
No. So Dave could have some way to contact us. That's not a cell phone.
Oh, yeah, get a better...
To call into the show.
Yeah, get a better signal.
His phone kind of sucks over there in California.
Yeah. Probably a lot of jobs.
That's why the audio's so bad. So I would buy all this stuff and send it to his house.
That's nice.
He would have a podcasting room.
Do you think he'd make...
here's the thing. Actually,
he probably has a house.
I would probably be better off decking out Dave Sheridan's car because his wife Laura hates him doing the podcast.
Really?
Like, he's not allowed to podcast in the house. So
is it because he talks too much, or? Well,
because he gets loud and he talks about obviously everything.
Yeah.
And
she's probably just like trying to watch TV.
She's trying to. She doesn't want to be in bed next to him while he's talking about, Donald Trump, for instance, as he's known to have gone on tangents for that, or talking about house construction or just anything in general. So while his wife Laura is awesome, I love her to death. But yeah. She hates him doing the podcast. She will not let him do it in the house. So anytime any of our podcasts in the last year or so that you've heard as listeners, it's been done in Dave's car.
Really?
He calls on the phone and is sitting in his car, in his driveway, recording the show.
Oh man!
Because
he's kicked out of his own house.
He's kicked out of his own house to do the podcast. So
you can't just go in the backyard.
I would probably, I'd probably get him some sort of man cave in his car, or maybe, and depending on however his house looks when it's finished being built.
He needs his own shed in the backyard.
He needs like a shed, a
podcast shed,
like Shaun of the Dead, and just have a shed in there instead of the video game setup, a podcasting setup, so he can just actually be able to podcast. And we can get good audio.
Well, I feel sort of bad. You're saying you're going to help buy someone else's stuff, and I'm just going to splurge it all on myself.
Well, technically that helps me too. So it's not just buying it for Dave. It's also helping me out. It's one less problem to worry about when editing.
Yeah,
I'd also probably hire an editor so I don't have to edit the audio. That would be great.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I won't have to do much editing to this since we're in the same room. But yes, it's that's what I would do. Those would be my first purchases.
So yeah, fortune cookie numbers, start using them if you play the lottery. Because you might win something, or maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, probably not for me. But, you know...
We don't have the kind of luck that kid Dylan has.
Now, my next story, it's actually my last weird story of this episode. You know, have you ever wanted... You know, you see these charity relays and races all the time, the 5Ks and whatever.
March for Dimes and...
Yeah, all these things where they...
I think that's...
It's for charity, but it requires a commitment. It requires a lot of work. Obviously, you got to get to some place where you're physically fit enough to actually complete the race.
Do it like 10 miles of just walking. I don't think I've ever walked half a mile. Oh no, I've walked half a mile. To walk 10 miles, that's just...
Yes, well, there is a new charity race that's closer to my heart and my shape, basically, and it is a 0.5K.
Oh, I could do that.
Charity race, and it's going down in Texas, and it's I got a little information about it, and it sounds pretty awesome. The first Bernie 0.5K race is scheduled for May 5th. And obviously, Bernie, Texas. Now, organizers say that their city permit won't allow more than 100 fellow underachievers on the 546-yard course. Race entry costs $25, and they're raising funds for Blessings in a Backpack, which provides food at the weekend for underprivileged children, which is
a great charity.
It's great. You know, obviously, there's a lot of children that go hungry, so you know this is a really good cause. But this is like the best part for me because obviously 0.5K is not that long, but this race also has a VIP option, and that just blows my mind. You know, for those who even 0.5K, you know, which would probably be me because even though that's not that long, you know, I'm probably tap out at like 0.25K, might get halfway. Now, for an extra $25. A 1963 Volkswagen bus will transport you the length of the course.
Oh my god!
So at this point, you're already going to raise money with your purchase. But if you spend that extra $25, you can literally ride a bus from the beginning until the end.
To say you finished.
Half
a mile.
And this is the even better part. Like obviously, charity is good enough, but a couple of brew pubs. There in Bernie are sponsoring the event, and participants will get free beer at the start and finish line. So you might even get a decent buzz depending on how much.
So it's basically a bar crawl.
Yeah, it's literally
from point A to point B. It's a bar crawl.
Yes, or a very short scenic drive. So yeah, that was my last one, and you know, if they do that in Charleston, I'm completely down. And I will splurge and go the VIP route.
Just see you just like moseying, just letting people like trying to.
But see, you know, I'm gonna go all way, you know, the whole way.
Yeah.
Like I will get on. I will get on that bus in a sweatshirt and a headband and armbands, looking like I'm getting ready to run. You know, geez. The little iPod on my my arm with the headphones. Like
you got your step,
my stepometer, all of that, and then I'm going to get on the bus and then ride.
One step.
And then I'll make sure I pour some water on my head as I'm getting out, so you know I'm exhausted. It looks like I've ran the whole way. So. Yeah, that's going to be awesome if they do it in Charleston. But yeah, if you're local to Bernie and you're one of those 100 people, hope you have an awesome time. I'm extremely jealous of you.
So it's just 100 people that can do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk really quickly about a show that I know you know nothing about because you don't watch it. But this season of Silicon Valley is just fantastic.
Wasn't this I haven't like watched or anything, but didn't I hear something about that? What's his face? T.J. Miller was leaving, or is that next season?
No, he left at the end of last season.
Okay.
And I was worried that it wasn't going to be good, but this season has actually been one of the better seasons so far. They're over halfway done with it, but it's hilarious. Mike Judge is.
See, I like Mike Judge, but I mean, I can't say that the show's bad or anything. I've never watched it. I've never taken the time to. I'd probably like it.
I know you would like it,
and
to see and I only gave it a shot because of Mike Judge. Like the show was already in season 2, or season 2 had ended when I started watching, and I gave it a shot because of Mike Judge, because I was like, I'm not really into the whole tech thing. The jargon and the Silicon Valley and all this and that, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it.
Then you started watching Mr. Robot.
No, well, that goes way overboard with the tech jargon.
Yeah.
But like, I enjoyed the show, but I don't understand half of what they're saying in Mr. Robot. Whereas they still talk tech jargon in Silicon Valley, but yet somehow I'm able to understand it.
I probably wouldn't get it either.
But it's so much more than that, and it's definitely one of the best shows going right now, and one of the funniest too. Obviously, Mike Judge. I don't think he's ever done anything that sucked. To be honest, I mean, Idiocracy, Office Space, King of the Hill. I mean,
he's always made hits, I guess you can say. He's always made good TV shows, good movies. He can't do no wrong. So yeah, this is the part where I want to plea. I mean, it has been renewed for a 5th season, so it's not like the show's in dire straits like when I'll talk, about a little bit later from now. But if you have not seen it and you have HBO, check out Silicon Valley. It's one of the funniest shows out there right now. Has one of the best casts, and just somehow keeps getting better. This isn't what I was going to talk about or anything, but you just sort of brought up HBO. I'm wondering, after Game of Thrones, like, what's the next big HBO show? Because it started off with True Blood for me. HBO has a bunch of good shows, I'm sure, but like for me, it was True Blood, and then I started Game of Thrones, didn't finish it because I didn't care for period pieces like that. Then I ended up rewatching it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the series. I ended up liking it. What do you think that's on now that's gonna become as big as like say True Blood or Game of Thrones? Like, what's gonna be that big? Like, what's the next show? Honestly, I don't know. I know that HBO's doing a show on Watchmen. Oh, really? They're turning that movie / comic book / graphic novel into a show. Okay. Could be good. I know they're trying their hardest to do a spinoff of Game of Thrones. So could be that. See, I don't know if I don't care for too much for spinoffs. I would like to say I would hope it'd be Silicon Valley, but. Definitely, that's already one of their top comedies on the show. I mean, it's been going on for 5 seasons now, so it has been successful enough to continue coming back each year. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I really don't know. It doesn't seem like HBO has, after Game of Thrones, like a really big franchise. But you know what? That's the thing. Like, nobody really thought True Blood nor Game of Thrones was going to be as big as it did, and they both blew up. So. They something that could very well just look, or sound kind of boring or lame to us right now could wind up being the next thing that we're talking about on this show. But yeah, watch Silicon Valley. I'll get to it sooner or later because I have other things to watch. Like what? Good question. The Twilight Zone. Can we talk about how? Okay, it had its '60s version, the Rod Serling version. Have you watched the '80s or 2000s version, the one with Forrest Whitaker doing the hosting? Have you watched any of those? you think because it's not Rod Serling, it's not going to be good. There are a select few that were iffy because they didn't really follow the same time constraints. Like some were like 20 minutes long, some were like 10 minutes long, and they would always be they would have like different times and whatnot. I still think the 80s and the 2000s versions, at least the 80s versions, because I haven't watched the 2000s in a while, they can still hold up. They still hold up pretty good. There was some stuff in the 60s version that was a little hokey even for that time.
Yeah, well, the only thing I can remember, honestly, about the Twilight Zone was that the movie that came out in the 80s where that guy died.
Oh.
Where he got his head chopped off by the helicopter, and I think the kids did too. I remember Sci-Fi every year, I believe on July 4th, but it could have been some other holiday. But when I was growing up, they would always have a marathon, 24-hour Twilight Zone marathon, and my dad would always have that tuned in, and I was so bored. So bored.
It's like the 60s version, it was very... I mean, it was, black and white, which was fine.
I don't do black and white.
It just had... Some of the stories just weren't that... they were creative for that time. But they were just boring. And I didn't... There's some I can probably talk about that I didn't care for. Then there's some that are, instant classics. But fast forward, the 80s versions I think was still pretty good. 2000s, I remember a few that were pretty good. I'm buying the DVDs back. Like, cause I originally watched them all like online before, but now I'm buying the series, watching them again. And just to fast forward still. You've seen Get Out, right?
Yes.
And so that's directed by Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really cool is that the Twilight Zone got a reboot from Jordan Peele, and it was greenlit for CBS All Access. What CBS All Access is, I don't know if that's one of those channels.
Yes, I know it is. CBS All Access is basically...
No, is it like one of those you have to like pay for have an extra channel?
Yeah. It's basically like an app. Say like Netflix, but it's only for CBS. So you can watch any show that's been on CBS at any season from, their, whatever. If you want to watch all 49,000 seasons of Survivor, you can.
Okay.
Like Big Brother, they have an exclusive season each year that runs only on there. That new Star Trek is only on there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so this would be like that too, yeah. And I think it's like... It's either $5.99 a month or $9.99 a month, and you obviously pay it monthly, and you can watch the stuff.
Hell, I might, if he starts whenever that series starts, I might have to sign up for that because I'm really excited because Get Out with Jordan Peele. I didn't know him going from Key and Peele, Mad TV and whatnot, being like comedic and whatnot, a comedy I guess you say writer, to going straight to horror. And I saw Get Out, and I was amazed. No, that's not the word.
Blown away.
Blown away. There we go. I was like, wow, this was really good. So I'm really excited for what he's got in store with that. Because I'm sure it'll be where it sort of goes a little weird. It's almost like, but it's like Black Mirror, which you haven't seen, which you need to watch. It's almost. Black Mirror is Twilight Zone, but much longer episodes. But they're honestly its own movie. But it sort of set up like Twilight Zone, where it tells you a story, then it sort of has that hook at the end that always gets you. And I don't know if the Twilight Zone is this reboot, if it's going to be like Black Mirror, or if Black Mirror was trying to like copy Twilight Zone. I don't know. I just think, I just know that once the series starts to come out again, this Twilight Zone series starts to get rebooted, I'm looking forward to it. Something that I don't know many people have really, I've talked to you about this, I've told you different things about it. I don't know how many people have like heard about this or have ever thought about this. When you read a book, like you're reading a book, what do you imagine? You're picturing like what this story is telling you, right?
Kinda.
You're mentally drawing the pictures in your mind, right?
Well, no. Well, yes and no. My way of reading a book is a little different, and usually after the first chapter, after the main characters are established, it's just something I've done since I was little for some reason. Is I read the characters and then I assign them a celebrity avatar, basically an actor or actress, so I can envision the movie.
I do the same thing.
So yeah, like I read the how they describe this person. I'm like, well, you know what? That kind of sounds like Tom Cruise. So now, as I'm reading, every time that person's mentioned, there's Tom Cruise in the action or whatever.
Like, I've done the same thing, but like when the story's like talking about, where they're at, like this house in this neighborhood they're at, you're picturing that in your mind, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, you don't have to picture it when Stephen King writes it.
You're drawing...
Because then you've got like 2 or 3 pages describing everything in that house.
But you're drawing this mental picture.
Yes.
Okay. So, what I've gotten into recently, and I think it might be on YouTube, it's what they call role-playing.
Uh-oh, nerd alert, nerd alert.
I don't do it myself, but...
Yet. We gotta throw in the yet, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't say that... It's honestly improv storytelling. And that's all that is. It's literally... yes, they make a game out... You make a game out of it and whatnot, but it's honestly improv storytelling. There's one guy that's, pretty much telling you... He's writing the book. You're just playing a part. And what I've gotten into is, what I was saying,
butt
like
stuff.
Butt stuff, yeah, sure. These it's RPGs, and on Twitch there's like a few different streamers that do it, and I've always been a fan of Power Rangers and whatnot. I've actually been starting watching the series back because I had only watched Mighty Morphin, like most people.
Most smart people stopped.
They might go to Zeo.
Maybe they do Zeo and at most tap out at Turbo.
Yeah, and so I ended up watching those back, and then there's a certain, and I'm not trying to plug them or anything, but there's a certain.
You're not trying to plug them as you're getting ready to plug them.
I'm going to plug them, but okay, I am plugging them. They're called Hyper RPG, and what they did, they made a show called Power Rangers Hyperforce, and this is pretty much a tabletop Power Rangers. It has nothing, they're not. This isn't a TV show. They're not trying to. They're not fighting out in the woods as their characters and whatnot or themselves. It's pretty much different actors and or vloggers or just people that are basically telling this story, their own story of in the Power Rangers universe. And I had heard about this, and I started watching it, and I got really, I got pretty into it because they casted certain characters like Paul Schreier, who played Bulk in Mighty Morphin. And all of his tenure there, he was never a ranger or whatnot. So when he came to this Hyperforce thing, he was actually a Power Ranger. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was sort of neat to see him, finally become that. But that sort of got me started on their stream. And then I started watching all their other episodes, and they have a horror one, and they just have different ones here and there. And I've gone just weirdly into it. Not to say I would do it myself, but it's honestly what I would probably, what I would like to do, or what I think I might be good at, or something. Not to say I'd be good at it. It's honestly
It's not something I wanted to. It's something I need to do.
It would just be you pretty much just you're improvising, telling a story, and that just seems neat to me because that's all they're doing.
What do you think you're doing right now?
I'm talking about improv storytelling.
You're improving about improv storytelling. Look at that, you're already doing it.
This is like Inception. It's like a...
Like, you're literally...
I'm role-playing in... God. We're going too deep into this dream. It's one thing that I never thought I would get into. Just because every time like how you started, nerd alert. I was like, that's like really, that's like nerdy and stuff. That's like what, Dungeons and Dragons. I always thought that was just like not me at all. And it's not honestly that. It's like they roll the dice. They say they want to do this certain thing, and it's basically a big game within storytelling. And
so basically, it's like a Power Ranger themed game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly, pretty much. And
you'll see this on Stranger Things next season.
There you go. And I just they just had their their first season on there, and I never would have thought this random show that I just this random role playing game I started watching would get me hooked. But it's gotten me hooked, and I'm like hoping they get a second season on there, because it's Saban, like Saban actually, they were talking with Saban brands and whatnot, and it's I can't say sponsored, or I think that's the word I'm looking for. But basically, Saban, they talk to these creators of this show. So it's not just them. It's like Saban's...
they've been given the okay to do it.
Yeah, that's
so they don't get sued. Yeah, basically.
that's the word I'm looking for. And I just thought, what a weird concept, but it was such a new concept, and I've just been into that. And then different shows they do on their Twitch stream called Hyper RPG. Honestly, it's a fun thing to look at, to see if you could. There's probably something there that you can get into. They do all kinds of horror. They do comedic. They do Star Wars. They just have a bunch of different things. I think something like that would take off with people, because some people are more it's auditorial, but then you're visualizing all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I can see it. Hey, those people. There's people that watch podcasts. I mean, it's just another thing that people can be involved in.
It's another way of entertainment that you're using your mind. You're watching all this play out like a big movie.
Well, yeah, you're basically watching what. I mean, yes, it is improv, but it's kind of like a read-through, because everybody, the cast is reacting to all this stuff. So, they're in character, and you're watching them react in character. So, yeah, no, I mean, I completely get it. Now we're going from one that's a show that you hope is picked up for another season.
Yeah,
Now, this last thing I want to talk about is not getting picked up. It's gotten the big red cancel.
Oh, God.
And
spoiler alert.
Unfortunately, yes, it's been canceled. And as of the time we're recording it, it's actually early morning on a Sunday. Today is the final day. The last episode is airing today, which will already have aired by the time you're listening to this. But it's a little show called Ash vs. Evil Dead. And
I know.
I'm saddened by this.
Me too.
I know you haven't watched much of this season.
I haven't seen the
newest season. This newest season's really good, and thankfully, it seems like they kind of knew they were getting canceled when they made this.
Were they trying to wrap it up?
So it seems like everything is going to be wrapped up in this next episode.
Oh, okay.
So I mean that's the only good thing, that hopefully we're not left with a giant cliffhanger, because it'll never be resolved. Mm-hmm. But we're watching. For the last time, Bruce Campbell portray Ash, because he's hanging up the blue shirt, the chainsaw up. He's not reprising Ash.
He's hanging up the boomstick
ever again. Yeah, he's putting that boomstick away. So You know, it sucks. It's like not a lot of people watch the show, which is why it got canceled, I guess. The ratings have been going down all season long.
Oh, really?
And, I mean, the show is actually... This is actually probably...
It's a really good show.
This season is up there with probably one of the better seasons. It's definitely better than season 2.
You know, I haven't watched it because I just didn't... I used to have like HBO and Stars and all those channels. Then I got a different cable package, and I just never went back either online or like on an app and whatnot and watched them. But I've been wanting to, because that definitely was a really good show. Because the first 2 seasons were awesome.
And I'm blaming it on you now. If you'd have watched, maybe it wouldn't have got canceled. It's all your fault.
I'm sorry, Bruce Campbell.
So that's going to wrap up all of our topics today. There's a couple of topics which I'm really surprised we didn't bring up, but maybe we'll talk about next week as WWE did their greatest Royal Rumble.
I was gonna. We can say that. I was gonna talk about Infinity War.
Do you want to talk about Infinity War? We're at an hour.
That's fine.
So
that's fine. Go ahead.
But what do you mean? Go ahead. You mean go ahead and end the show?
We can talk about it for 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, spoiler alert. Are we talking about how everybody dies? Almost everybody? Almost all the black superheroes die?
Yeah, I guess we are. God, just that... I mean, the movie itself, really good. I thought it was really good. You always hear these rumors and I guess you could say tabloids and whatnot.
Tabloids now.
Rumors. How do rumors get started?
You hear the backstage talks or what they gossip about on the gossip sites. But basically, everybody was going into this movie expecting
certain other people,
certain main, basically since the beginning, people who've been there the longest to die in this one, and the new blood to take over. When, in fact, at the end of this movie, the new blood died and the old people stayed there. It's like it was kind of like WCW.
Yeah,
like 2000 WCW.
And I was just like, "What's going on?" And
new blood versus the old guard.
And I'm seeing all these people, and I'm thinking it's this, like at the very end. I hope the people upstairs can't hear us if they haven't.
Whoa! Upstairs, we are in a podcasting studio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right now, there is no upstairs to this apartment that we're in. Right
okay,
now.
Sorry. So hopefully they don't hear anything.
Spider-Man dies. Black Panther dies. Captain America's safe. Iron Man lives too.
Okay, I can't hear anything from the roof. Let's give them a second.
Ant-Man and Hawkeye aren't in the movie. Hulk's only in the beginning. Gamora dies. So, yeah, hopefully the people in above Brian's apartment
hopefully they've
enjoyed that recap of Infinity War.
Hopefully they're not trying to spy on us.
Thank you, people above us.
Yep, thank you.
Now that'll be $49.95.
Yep, you're welcome. Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm charging interest.
We're charging for popcorn and drinks?
Because I'm charging them. No, I'm charging them for the performance.
Oh, I think I heard them coming down. What if you just heard them start coming down the stairs? And,
motherfucker!
This motherfucker!
I was waiting the whole damn weekend to go see Infinity War, and now these motherfuckers downstairs just ruin it for us.
They loud talking ass.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
They're nice people, though. No, it's hard to really talk about it, without ruining it. But it was good, and then just that there's that final scene. If you've seen it, the whole.
I just literally spoiled most of the main stuff. I think you can be a little less vague on what it is.
That's true. The last 10-15 minutes, all this shit's going on. Everyone's like fading away, and they're dying, and
they're classifying themselves as obsolete.
Delete. Okay, we're not gonna go there until next week. But there's that one last scene with Spider-Man going up to Iron Man, who's been, I guess you could say, his father figure.
I can be your father figure.
Okay, George Michael. And rest in peace. And there's that final scene where Peter Parker, he's still playing this like kid, and he's going up to Iron Man, and he's like crying, like pleading with him. Again, I'm not pleading with him, but like he's scared and he's trying to like hold on to this like father figure, and you just see him start to fade away, and it's just like it tore like the whole book. Everyone's fading away, but that got out of all of them. That got to me because you could just tell it's just. That acting was just...
That's because Tom Holland is an amazing actor who's able to perfectly hide a British accent.
He can. But just that part, it's just like he's trying to like, I'm scared, and like he's like holding on to Iron Man, and then you just see him fade away, and that tore me up. I could hear people in the audience just like sniffling. I know they were like, about to cry their eyes out. If not, they already were. I would say that probably hit me the most at the end there. But I'm looking forward to the second part. I definitely think a lot of these things are going to be reversed. Who knows? Maybe not.
Well, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. We're actually going to end it this week with an interview that our correspondent Lexi did at Days of the Dead Atlanta with Chosen Jacobs from It.
Mine here is Chosen from It. What's your favorite part in the movie playing as the character?
My favorite part was just hanging out with my friends and, just having a good time during the summer. So it was just a fun experience. My favorite part from the movie was I liked the very kind of ending, the very ending. With the fight scenes and everything like that with Pennywise the clown?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm glad you liked it.
That was my most favorite part.
Thank you. That means a lot. You like interviewing a lot?
Yes.
Well, you're really good at it, so you should keep doing it.
I want to do more today because I already did one with Jason.
Awesome. See, this is natural. Good job. Pleasure meeting you. Hopefully one day you let me on your show.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
I had a very good time with interviewing with you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Okay. And one more question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
What's my favorite food? Oh gosh, that's hard. That's a hard question. What is my favorite food, man? I like all food. I don't discriminate. I like all food. I say dinner is my favorite because I like, I like ribs a lot, macaroni, salmon.
I like macaroni.
Because cool people like macaroni.
And French fries.
French fries is good. Ketchup, mustard, barbecue.
I don't like ketchup.
Look, we have a lot in common. Awesome. It was nice meeting you.
See, nice meeting you too.
That's the very, very short version.
There you go. See you guys next week. Actually, I won't see anybody, but I will be speaking to you. You will hear from me next week. Thank you, universe. Goodbye.
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for listening to the Dave and Creech Show. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Dave and CJ. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Creech Creative Productions or any of its affiliates.